I've started the cattle moving towards the pens. It's time to go ahead and try to get the calves off. You've watched, we've been prepping everything to get ready for that, and for once I'm kind of a little ahead of the game. So now I just need to get the cattle over there to the pens. They've been down on the big creek, and it all starts with the whistle and a couple of hollers. I'm not going to rehash why we wean the calves. I'm going to assume most people here that are coming here know, but I'll just give a brief summary. We're going to pull the calves off in order to sell them. Just the guys. We're gonna keep the girls, kind of like we do with our goats. So that's how we make a living. That's part of the way we make a living. All of this stuff goes towards the bottom line, goes towards making ranch payments, making land payments, making medical payments, making all those payments that everybody makes. So this is just one more thing that we have to do every year in order to do that, and the cows do a tremendous part. It looks real difficult, doesn't it? Trust me, it is. These are the easy ones. I've started blowing my whistle, and these are the ones that can hear me. So I'll sit here and holler for a little while, and they'll continue to come. And that'll be good. One of the biggest issues with weaning the calves right here and the way we do it is moving them off this creek. And really it's not even just the creek. Sometimes it's just difficult to get them all. Anybody that has brush country, when you go out into mesquite country in North Texas and get out in West Texas where the mesquites are just so thick, you know, that's one of the things that's difficult. If you treat a cow pretty aggressive in that country, they'll hide from you. Over here, I'm pretty fortunate that we kind of cull those out, I guess is what I should say, on those cows that are like that. And so it's a little bit easier to kind of get them in here and get them all. Now, that doesn't mean that we always do it. Matter of fact, there's always some that we miss. So we just do our best and we go on. It doesn't hurt anything if you can graze a little bit on the way. This clover shot up really fast, and this is actually a pasture that we moved from down into the creek. So it's quite a bit early than what we would normally come in here. But I wanted to see if they would utilize this clover. This clover is a strange deal. You think animals would just pile on it and start eating the hound out of it. Well, they don't. It's kind of a timing thing, and this was pretty fresh grown. And so I'm going to see if the cows won't eat it, and they are. You can see they're liking it. So I wanted to just pass through here on the way. What that's going to do, that's going to give me an extra day to kind of gather them up, which is good because I'll need the time. Their babies might get confused and kind of go back, so they need the extra day to kind of go get them. And it's just about time to haul the goats. So we've got a lot of things going on that we may need an extra day here to kind of get this done. These calves are all half Mashona, which is a good thing. We're actually going to keep all of these heifers. So they're all going to be half Mashona. And then we've got a special bull that we're going to breed to. Okay, we've got a pretty big group of them that are coming. Great. They've heard me or have heard the other cows telling them, hey, we're moving. So I'm going to start heading north that way. I'm going to head all the way down the river to the north end and cross it and get over there and just start driving. And there'll be I've got some red heifers that are just, you kind of got to go get them every time. And so there'll be some that are scattered through that timber. I'll be shocked if there's not. The creek runs through the middle of kind of this pasture. And so I'll have to move cattle on both sides. And if everything works right and I'm doing it right and they're responding like they should, I'll kind of show you how I do that by myself without crossing the creek. So it might help some of y'all that have a fence maybe in the middle of your pasture that you're needing to drive the cattle down, or a creek like that, or anything that runs through the middle of a pasture or through a pasture that you can't get across, but the animals are on both sides. I'll give you a little trick to kind of help do that. I stand corrected. I've driven about 3 miles away up creek to the north end. No cattle this far. The bulk of them are back there within a mile. So I'm gonna head back that way and start them down the creek, and I'll tell you kind of how I do it on both sides without having to cross back and forth. Okay, so here's step number one. You can't see these cattle, but they're ready to move. I mean, I've got them moving down this side of the creek, and they're moving. And they want to move. You can see here's some coming behind me that want to move. Now, the issue is see, I've got a bunch over on this side. So what you do without crossing the creek is you got to get them moving without going over there. So I don't even know if you can see it with this little camera. I may have to get the big camera out to show you, but you can see they're started moving this way. And what's happened is the cattle that I'm moving on this side, I've got them moving that way. So when I come up here to this side, these cows want to go that way, but they're not 100% sure. So I train my cattle to drive and to come. It's beneficial for things just like this, because instead of me going over there, the way I train them to drive is I either go across them and get them moving, go across them in a T to the direction I want them to move, or I get movement going over somewhere else the direction I want to move, and then I give them the signal. And the signal is hep, 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 hep. It's very advantageous to train them to do both. So that's what we're doing. Now I can see that there's more cattle on that side than there is moving down this other side, so I'm probably going to go ahead and cross and drive those, and then let these keep moving down this side of the creek. That'll be the easiest thing to do. But it all has to do with teaching them to drive and teaching them to come, and then having good movement whenever you start moving your cattle, and then give them the signal, and then they know to start going. If you want them to come, you do like what I was doing down there earlier, and you holler at them down there where the gate is, and then they start coming, the ones that can hear you. So that's the tip. That will help you, and it helps me. So these right here, they haven't responded to my hup hup. The ones down there have, and they're just going the direction that this side of the creek is going, which is what I want. But these need a reminder what hup hup means. So I'll give them that reminder as aggressively as I can and let them respond, and then if they respond, then I'll back off and release the pressure, and they know that that's it. That's all they'll have to deal with. But if I have to do it again, I do it again, and I keep doing that till I remind them what it means when I go hup hup. Hup hup. Hup, hup, hup. Hup, hup, hup. Go all the way across. Hup, hup, hup. Hup, 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 hup. Hup, 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 hup. all it takes. They remember. Now every now and then you'll have a calf that stops a cow so they can nurse, and you'll have to kind of stay on them. But that's what I mean by training your cows. And Bud used to talk about that all the time. You know, he used to say, you know, people are going to think I'm a, you know, crazy for telling somebody to train their cows. Well, he's right. Work with your cows, work with your animals. You guys that are homesteaders, y'all know that. You've got your animals to do things. They know when you rattle a bucket to follow you. You know, it's just the same thing. These cows have been taught when I hup, they better go. And they've also been taught when I rattle the bucket, which is my whistle, they need to come. The problem with cows crossing the creek, the first one that goes across always picks a great spot. But when the last ones go across the same spot, it's no longer a great spot. Okay, we got them all off the creek, and it wasn't even near the job that I thought it was going to be. Normally it takes me 3 or 4 days, a couple hours. I love it when a plan comes together. Yeah. Step 1, complete.